Hi guys! Welcome back to my channel and welcome again to another tutorial. Today I'll be doing another landscape and I'll be doing a pathway landscape or summer spring scene. So we will be focusing more on perspective and realism. As much as possible, I wanted to make it look realistic. I don't want it to look a bit cartoonish, as you already know, as most of you already know, that's my style. So I'll be linking in the description box below the reference image for this painting tutorial. And as you can see here, my canvas is painted gray. That's because this is an old painting of mine that I don't like anymore, so I painted over it. And if you're asking, is the gray color necessary for this painting tutorial? I say yes and no. Yes, because we'll be doing some gray colors for the sky, but for the other parts of the painting, the gray color or the gray underpainting is not really necessary. So use the colors that you want for the underpainting, but I just use gray. That's basically, the reason is basically I want to paint over the old painting that I did. So let's begin now. And today I will make it much easier for you guys because we will only be using the basic colors or the primary colors plus black and white, which means we will only be using mid yellow, brilliant red, phthalo blue, titanium white, and black. And I'll be linking in the I'll be writing in the description box below the colors that I just mentioned, just in case you want to check it out again. So let's begin sketching now. And as always, or as most of you already know, I use my paint in sketching right away. Most of the time, I seldom use chalk or pencil. So for landscape, I'll be using my small square brush in sketching the subject. So I'm gonna wet my brush. Okay, so let me just move my... Okay, so I hope you can see that. Yeah, you can see it quite clearly. So I'll be sketching first the road. So I'm gonna use my black. Like that. So that's basically the pathway or the road. All right. Now I'm gonna get my white and mix it with my black. Okay, I'm gonna make the middle part quite light. Right. So just like that. So that's basically the underpainting for the road. All right, we will go back to that later. Let's now proceed to doing the sky. Let's go up, and I'm gonna use a much larger brush for that. So I'm gonna get my white and mix it with my existing gray, just to make my gray quite light. All right, and then I'm just gonna paint over this area. As you can see, it's already gray, but then as I told you, I'll be painting over the underpainting that I already did. Some areas in the sky will be covered with foliage anyway, so it doesn't really matter that much. It doesn't really matter that much. I'm gonna get my white and lighten this area. Okay, just like that. So now, before we go back to the road or to the pathway, I'm gonna create some foliage. And I actually have here my palette knife and my round stiff brush and also my fan brush. So you can use any of those tools, but I will be using first okay, I'm just gonna use an ordinary brush for this one. Later we will be doing some other tools if I want some more detailing. So I'm gonna get my black. So I'm just gonna get my black and get my yellow, all right? And then my blue. Black. And I'm just gonna use this to create some dark markings or black. I don't want to say black, but they're like foliage like brush strokes. We're not yet doing the detail. We're just doing the shadows. All right, just like that. Okay, and let's move on to the right side. We'll be doing the same thing. Okay, and then we're gonna go up. Okay. Okay, now I'm gonna get more yellow this time. I'll be adding that to my blue or to the existing mixture that we have here. Just gonna get more blue. Okay, let's create more foliage up here. Remember guys that we're still in the underpainting stage, so keep going, keep going. Okay, I'll be doing more greens here. Some dark greens, okay? Dark greens I'm applying right here. All right, now I'll be adding more yellow and tiny bit of red, okay? Just tiny bit, just to tone the yellow down. Okay, maybe I'm gonna add tiny bit of white. Okay, I'm gonna get more black and blue and yellow. Just adding more depth and shadows up here. So as you can see, as I'm doing my foliage, I'm just using the pointy part of my brush. But of course later we will be detailing even more. This is not the final foliage look that I really want. Right. We're going to add some depth. And using black, I'm going to make this area quite deeper. All right. Now I'm gonna use a really pointy brush, as you can see here, and let's make some what do you call that, stems or branches. All right, so I'm gonna use my black, and I'm gonna add tiny bit of red to make it more browny, maybe yellow too. So I'm just gonna use more water just to make my lines more smooth and so that, you know, it can flow on the canvas quite smoothly. So I'm gonna use a pointy brush to create some stems. I cannot really avoid using my hands directly in contact with my paints. It's just automatic, I don't know. All right, and then I would like to add a little more foliage on this area. So I'm gonna use the same colors that we used for the foliage. It's just green and black. These are tiny, all right? Tiny suggestions of leaves. Do not overdo this step. Because I just don't want this area to be just empty. So okay, I'm gonna get my yellow plus white. Let's highlight the trees. Like that. All right, like that. Okay, I'm gonna get my pointy brush again, just to add more greeny colors. Okay, again, some highlights. Alright. Okay, now I'm gonna use an ordinary brush just to lighten the sky a bit. So I'm gonna use my white and kind of spread. Now, if you're freaking out because I'm using my brush this way, really violently, if you may call that, that's because that's how I use my brush. Really, it looks like I don't care about my tools, but in all honesty, I kind of like it that I really make use of my tools. Okay, I'm gonna highlight, I'm gonna glaze the top foliage like that, just to suggest some light hitting those foliage, all right? Highlights. Okay, some yellows. All right, so before we continue doing more details on the foliage, I'm gonna go and move on to the road. This is for me to allow the paints to dry, and so that, you know, give me time to realize what needs to be added. So for the road, I'm just gonna go and get my white, but I'll be using my square brush. Okay, so get your white. It doesn't matter if it mixes with other colors like black or yellow, because we really don't like pure white here. So I'm gonna use my white, and I'm gonna create that, what do you call that? I don't even know what to call that. That white part of the road. What do you call that? The middle part. Let's just call it the middle part. I'm not even sure if I'm calling it the right name. All right, just like that. Okay? And then we're going to correct the other portion of the road to make sure that it is within the right perspective. So I'm gonna get my brown, and for us to be able to create brown, we're going to get our red, okay, and mix it with yellow, and then black. Oops, that's too much black. And then add white to that. Maybe this is too red. I'm gonna add more yellow to that. It's too red for my liking. So this is my brownie color, and I'm gonna use this color to adjust the width of my road by, okay, like that. Right? So it's like erasing that hard line. Okay, now I'm gonna get my black. I'm gonna extend it even further. Okay, I'm gonna get my greens. All right, like that. Wash your brush out. And then I'm gonna get my black, but I'll be using more water for my black so that I can glaze. Okay, more black. Okay, that's gray actually. I need black. Let me check. All right, that's good, that's good. I'm just gonna darken the sides so that we get a full vignette of the picture. Also the corners. Okay, I'm gonna outline this white middle part, as I call it, middle part. All right, like that. Okay, now I'm gonna add more details because it's quite raw from the way I look at it, the way I see it. It's quite raw, still raw. So I'm gonna use my stiff brush. It's just a round stiff brush. You can use your old brush, and then you can cut it like in a round, flat way. So in this shape. So I'm gonna use the tip of my round stiff brush to create more detailing. So I'm gonna get more yellow because I already ran out of yellow. Okay, I'm gonna use my stiff brush to create, I'm gonna create some yellow-green color. So I'm just gonna mix my blue and then my yellow. Remember that we're only using primary colors today, plus black and white, so that you won't be stressing so much about colors. And I'm just gonna use my stiff brush in creating some detailing. Okay, now I'm gonna get the brown mixture that we had. So I'm gonna use that to apply some brownie colors in this area. And even here, because nature is not perfectly green and yellows, it has some brown colors. If it's all green and yellow, it kind of look weird to me because it doesn't match the color of nature. All right, and then I'm gonna get my green color. Pure green, not yellow green. So I'm gonna get blue and then yellow. It's darker. Let's create more detailing. Okay, I'm gonna add white to the green to create some highlights. Okay. All right, now I'm gonna get my black, and I'm gonna use the black to create more shadows. All right, now I'm gonna set this aside. I won't be using it too soon. We will be focusing now on the road or the pathway. I'm gonna get my white. Okay, I'm gonna make some light gray color And then I'm gonna lighten some areas now. Because again, we want to suggest perspective. So, like that. I'm just glazing. Alright, just like that. Let me fix my middle part. I'm gonna use some light brown, so I'm just gonna add white to my existing brownie color. I'm gonna make some highlights. Gonna add some brownie colors so that it really looks natural. All right, I'm gonna use this color to highlight even further the distant leaves. Okay, I'm gonna create some light orange, so I'm gonna use yellow and white. Oh, sorry, yellow, white, and red. Just like that. I want to check. All right, now, okay, I'm gonna get my black and I'm gonna create more depth. So I already ran out of black, so I'm just gonna get my black. I'm going to create more depth in between our foliage. Okay, let's finish this part because we really haven't finished this. I'm gonna get green Okay. Gonna apply some dark green colors. All right, like that. Gonna use my black just to kind of outline without making any harsh lines. Just to, yeah, like that. I'm gonna get some white, but very subtle. Okay, I'm gonna get more white. Just to lighten. Okay, some yellows. All right, now I'm gonna glaze the whole pathway with some black color. So I'm gonna use a big brush so that I get a good coverage. So I'm gonna use a lot of water for this step. Okay, get your black, water down, or water it down. And be careful with this step because you might do this or overdo this. And then you paint it over, you realize you just painted over what you've done, okay? So if you're not really sure about this step, don't do it. And if you want to try this, you can use your tissue to kind of remove the excess glazing. In all honesty, guys, I feel like the middle part is too thick, all right? I think I made it too thick, so I'm gonna thin it. So I'm gonna get some gray color just to cover because I don't like the thickness of the pathway. Oops. Yellow. It should be like that. All right, like that. I kind of like it. Much better. And then I'm just gonna fix that part just to emphasize the white line. I'm just gonna fix it's like too pointy. I mean too wide. You can use a more pointy brush if you're not really comfortable. I actually should have used a more pointy brush, but I already have this brush, so I'm just gonna use this. Okay, I'm gonna make it thicker as it goes near me, like that. Oops, okay. I hate that when it happens. Right. And then let's just make some markings on the road. So more greens. I'm just adding more greens because the more I layer, the more my foliage look fuller. What am I saying? Okay, I'm gonna add more light yellows. All right, now let's go back to the sky because I feel like it needs more light. I'm just gonna use my titanium white and just gonna make some circular brush strokes to lighten the sky a bit because I think it's too dark. So try to go in between those branches so that we are consistent with the color of the sky. Let's just close some areas. Okay, I need more yellow green. Maybe some more depth. All right, let me check. All right, I kind of like this one, guys. I kind of like this one. You know, that's the result when I obsess over something. I start to really, really appreciate it after obsessing over about it. Oh, this is nice. Okay, so I'm gonna sign this now because I think that's enough obsessing. I don't know if I'm gonna add a little more detailing. So yeah, I think I will. I'm gonna use my white and start highlighting some areas. Do not overdo this step. Only highlight some areas. Okay, so I think I'll sign this now. Actually, I forgot to define like that. I love this one, guys. I love it. I'm gonna add tiny hint of bright white on the pathway. Only on some areas. Do not cover it with pure white. Only on some areas, like that. I'm gonna add some light browns. Alright. I'm gonna use my white to sign this painting. And I'm gonna sign, what do you think? Where should I sign? I think I'm gonna sign right here because it's not really busy. Yeah, I think right here. Yes, we're done, guys. We're done, guys. Hey, so this is so much fun because I love painting landscapes, and yeah, I think we did it, guys. So I hope you enjoyed this one, and I hope you do this one as well. Thanks for watching, and see you in my next video. Love you.